Hi, welcome to the Stitch Together podcast. My name is Chrissy, I'm your host. The episode is number 20 and the date is Sunday the 6th of September 2015. It's lovely to be here with you today, and it's lovely to welcome back people who've been here before, and if you're trying me out for the first time today, it's really good to have you here, and I hope we'll see you again at the end of it, whether you'll hopefully come back and see us again. There's not much news here, stuff and things I suppose I should talk about. I've been a bit under the weather, hay fever. It always gets me. It's like, I don't know what it is. Hay fevers and colds, anything that's up in my head just makes me miserable and I'm horrible to be around. I've said this before, I know I have. So I've just been a bit, So I've sort of kept my head down and not really spoken to many people or done much. I've just kind of been spinning and knitting on easy things. I did manage to sort through all my hats and scarves and cowls and things. They kind of used to end up on the floor a bit near the door in the porch, and they were supposed to be up on a rack, but there were so many they just kept falling down. So I finally got round to buying a couple of lined baskets that are kind of open topped, and they fit perfectly in the space underneath the rack by the front door. So the front door opens and they're really neat behind the front door. And they're even though they're wicker baskets, they're lined with cotton, so they don't like catch on anything. And I've managed to get almost sort of long scarves and things up in the rack so they kind of hang down and don't get scrunched up. And then I've got my hats and gloves and mitts in one basket, and I've got my cowls in another basket, and they're pretty much full. And I sort of had a bit of a sort through of stuff that I really didn't like, and a couple of things that were just on their last legs, and kind of ditched them. I mean, I thought about frogging some of the ones I wasn't keen on, and I just thought I haven't got it in me. They've been hanging around for years and I've worn them like twice, and I just, yeah, done with that, finished with it, it's gone in the bin. So it felt quite good actually, very cathartic, making space for new things. I mean, we're coming into starting to think about autumn, and it's sort of making me think about doing things like hats and mitts and scarves and cowls and things. So it was kind of nice to clear the decks a bit and get everything organised so I can sort of grab things as I'm going out the door that I struggled to find before because they were sort of in a pile. Now I can sort of say, right, that's my hat, that's my gloves, that's my cowl, and walk out. And hopefully that means I'll be wearing sort of more of the rotation, so to speak, rather than just the stuff that was on the top all the time. So that's pretty much my news. Oh no, my niece, my 3-year-old niece, who was absolutely fascinated by knitting but refused to try because she needed to wait until she was a big girl. I found a photo. It was a photo of the Shetlands, and it was a very little girl. She was a toddler, pretty much same age as my niece, and she had her knitting needle belt on and she was knitting. There was a little cat there, and I just posted it on Facebook for my sister-in-law to show my niece, and apparently it did the trick. So now she's quite keen to have a go at knitting. So I'm going to send her a few bits and pieces in the post, and maybe next time I see her she'll be at least trying to knit. So that's kind of good news. I like that. I like the idea that she's fascinated with knitting and wants to have a go, and I think as well for her, because she's quite a sentimental child, and she's very attached to people and the things that they do. She's always been very grateful for all the things that I've made for her. In fact, she insists that pretty much everything that she ever got that was handcrafted was from me. So, and I think for her it's something that Auntie Chrissy does, and she kind of likes the idea of doing something that Auntie Chrissy does because she doesn't see me very often, so it's kind of a connection thing. And it might not be even as conscious as that, but that's the feeling I get from her, because she is a very sentimental child. She's full of love and affection, and it makes me it touches me that she's so interested in the thing that is my passion. So yeah, I'll keep you posted on how that goes. That really did please me quite a lot. I wish I was closer so I could actually sit down and teach her when she wants to be taught, rather than it just being all exciting because she's come to visit. So we'll see what happens next. Stuff and things, more stuff and things. You'll be wanting to know who won the prizes in the crafting with colour this long. I have drawn the winners, and we shall start with this skein of yarn, this beautiful skein of yarn, dyed by Happy Debs, who is a member of our group, and it's sock weight, and it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere and 10% nylon, and there's 350 meters of this, and it's so soft, really, really soft. And the winner of this skein is Love the Knit Life, who is Tanya from Ontario. So well done, Tanya. Next up is this beautiful Sundari Yarns skein. Absolutely gorgeous. It's not really conveying how rich that colour is. It's sort of, the camera's kind of flattened it a bit. It's Sundara sock, which is 100% superwash merino yarn. It's 370 yards and it's 100 grams, and it's very beautiful, very, very beautiful. And this was kindly donated by an anonymous donor who donated it quite a while ago, and it's been waiting to be shared. And the winner of that is DQ Knits, who is Jen from Merseyside. So well done, Jen. She did a really, really cute hat for her daughter. It was a really sweet photo. It was kind of colour work flamingos on the hat. It looks fantastic. It's really good. Go and have a look. The last prize, which is these 2 skeins of Regia, and as you know, Regia is sock yarn. It's 50 grams each, and I think it's about 200 meters, I think. 210 meters, and it's 75% superwash wool and 25% polyamide. And Regia is a fantastic sock yarn. It's pretty soft, but it wears like iron. You can stick it in the machine. You can you tumble dry it? Yes, you can tumble dry it. It's machine washable and it's tumble drying, and it's got a 10-year guarantee on it. So I'm a big fan of Regia. I think it's a great yarn, and it was very kindly donated by Alessandra. So thank you, Alessandra. This will be going to Simona Maloney, who is Simona from Ohio. So congratulations, Simona. And that's all 3 of the prizes. And if you guys can get in touch with me, I'll get them in the post to you straight away. I really enjoyed this knit along. It's been great fun, and there's been some beautiful projects made. If you go and have a look in the finished object threads, I think you'll get quite a lot of inspiration. Several people did multiple projects and put them in their posts on the FO thread, and it's been lots of fun chatting with everyone on the chat thread. So that was kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to carry on and do the next along, and that's why the spin along started on the 1st of September. The prizes for that I showed you in the last episode, and you can also see photographs in the Ravelry thread, the FO thread. And the requirements for that are, let me just double check, 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of fibre to be spun up by the 30th of September, photographed and details given and posted in the FO thread. And it's a minimum 100-yard spin requirement, which I think is pretty easy going in terms of hitting a target by the end of the month. So hopefully plenty of you, even people who haven't been spinning very long can have a go at that and join in. And already the chat thread's been good fun, and people have been sharing the fibres they're using and asking questions of each other, and because some people are further along the spinning road than others, and it's so nice to see knowledge being shared, and it's been really interesting so far, and we're only a week into it. So come on and have a look, come and look at the chat thread, get some inspiration, and maybe dig out something like a dusty old spindle and joining us. It'll be lovely to have you in the group. So I've put links to the FO threads and the chat threads in the show notes, so you can easily click over, or you can easily find the Stitch Together Ravelry group. Done and dusted. Now, the first thing I'm going to share with you, I haven't actually got, sadly, because I'm really very proud of this. It was a gift for my nephew, and it's his birthday tomorrow, so it had to go in the post, I'm afraid. So this is what I made. Oops, there we go. And I didn't use a pattern. The yarn is Hayfield Bonus Chunky, which is such cheap yarn, but it's a workhorse yarn, and it's great for toys because it's really robust and it's machine washable and all that sort of thing. So it's something I had lying around from when I did the Craftsy class, which was amigurumi Woodland Friends with Stacey Trock, and Stacey Trock is Fresh Stitches, and I've read her blog pretty much since I started crafting. Certainly think she might not have been around quite that long, but she's definitely been around a while. So I've read her blog for a long time, and she designs fantastic crocheted animals. That's her thing. She designs crochet animals, and they are adorable. And I'd done quite a few of her patterns, and then there was a Craftsy class that came out, and I decided I was going to do that and work through it and sort of get all her tips and things. And it taught me an awful lot about crocheting stuffed toys. And I've also knitted quite a few of Rebecca Danger's The Big Book of Knitted Monsters that she wrote, and I actually own that. I think it was a present actually, and it's a fantastic book, and all these toy monsters are knitted. And between the crochet, the amigurumi class, Craftsy class, and the Rebecca Danger's Knitted Monsters, I've become quite relaxed about winging it, especially in crochet, because it's so easy to rip back and it's quick to redo things. So because I kind of didn't have much time because I forgot to do it, I dug out the chunky yarn, which obviously makes everything a lot quicker as well. So what I did was I crocheted the main body, sort of starting at the top and working my way down, and stuffed that before I sort of sewed up the ends. And then what I did was I crocheted the feet, sort of starting at the feet end and putting the sort of black shoes on, and finished off with the teal of the main body. And then I stuffed them, but just very lightly in the bottom half of the leg to give them a bit of weight, but not making it too rigid. And then I sewed the ends together just on the underside of the main body. And then for the arms, I did the same sort of shape but slightly smaller. Did the same thing, lightly stuffed and attached it to the body, closed it up as I attached it to the body. And oh, I forgot to mention the eyes. The eyes are safety eyes, and I put those in before I finished stuffing it, so it'd be in a good place. Then I did these little antennae, which I was quite proud of. I started at the ends and worked my way in, very sort of tight little spiral, and attached those on the top. And then I just did a a back stitch in the black thread for the mouth and cut out a couple of triangles of felt and sewed those on with sewing thread, just normal sewing thread. And this guy was the result, and I'm really, really happy with him, and I was quite sad to let him go. I kind of would have liked to keep him because he's got loads of character. Really, really pleased with him. And I think my other half was quite sad to see him go as well. I think his words were, "It's the best thing you've done yet," in terms of monsters. Because I've made a few now for my nephews, and I don't know how many more I'm going to get to do with this nephew, because he's the middle nephew of my partner's sister, and I think he's just started senior school, and I think this might be the last one I can get away with giving him. So the tradition will pass on to his much younger brother, who's only 3, and yeah, he's not had a monster yet, so he's definitely going to get a monster at Christmas, I think, because I do love making these monsters. They have such character and they're great fun to make. So taking the class, the amigurumi class, and the knitted monsters, and sort of smashing them together to get an idea of structure and form and the techniques required to crochet them. It's definitely quicker if you crochet. So yeah, I'm really enjoying those. So yeah, I was really pleased with that, and I'm sorry I couldn't show you. It was about yay big. It was quite a decent size. It's sort of big as my head kind of thing. So I'm really pleased with that, and I think he'll like it. Even though he's young, but becoming a teenager, if you see what I mean. He's on that threshold where you don't want to hold on to childish things anymore and sort of, oh, don't want a stuffed toy, no. You can get away with pushing that because it's a monster. It's not about being like a cutesy thing. It's a fun thing, and I think I can get away with it this year. Not sure about next year, but this year I think I can just get away with it. So yeah, really pleased about that. So moving on to the next. I've lost my notes. Where are my notes? Come back. There they are. So yeah, I put links to the craftsy class I was talking about and the book I was talking about in the show notes, and they've got affiliate links. So if you do choose to go and buy those, then I get a little bit of money towards things like postage and stuff. So just a word to let you know that they're there. Next up, I have been blocking all week a great big stack of sock yarn squares for my scrap blanket, and I've got 28. This is 28 that I blocked this week, because I've got a blocking mat and I've drawn out the size of the squares, and I think it's squares 5 by 5 inches, and I've drawn it on the mat, so when it comes to blocking them I can just lay them on, pin out the corners and pin out the edges, and it makes it a lot easier, a lot quicker, and much more accurate. So all these squares, though there is a slight size difference because some of them have got more bounce than others and kind of pull it back in. I'm really, really pleased with them. And this is now, I've now finished knitting 71 of these squares, and I want 144. And I've been knitting them for about 2 years, I think. And actually, I can probably tell you how many go on. When did I start this? January 2014. So 18 months or so. So that's not bad, really. Sort of got halfway. But yeah, I've used a lot of the sort of tail ends of sock yarn because I do a lot of shawls and a lot of socks. So I've got quite a lot of ends of skeins to use. But I also have bought a few mini skeins, especially from companies that I wanted to try different yarns, rather than just buying a whole load of full-size skeins and not knowing whether I'd like them or not. And one of the ones I really liked was this one, and I can't remember for the life. Let me see. There it is. There's the colour. That's the true colour. I'll show you the stitch definition. It's beautiful and crisp. It's got lovely drape to it. It's really, really nice. And that was from Eden Cottages, and I'd not really bought any of their yarn, so I really enjoyed knitting that one, and I fell in love with this colour, even though I don't know what it's called because I've lost the tab. But it's yeah, that you'll see the way that's noteworthy later on. And you know, there's all sorts of bits and pieces, like for instance that one is leftover skein from my Joker and the Thief shawl, and it's just so much fun when you do these squares, because it kind of reminds you of the projects that you knit with them. I mean, for instance, that one, I love the socks that I made out of this. I think this was from the Wool Barn, and it's Blueface Leicester, and I love wearing those socks, and it's nice to have the reminder when you're knitting it, and also when it goes into the finished blanket. And yeah, I just thought I think I've said before that I'd only show you them when I blocked them. So I've emptied my ongoing project bag, which I keep beside my bed so I can do it before I go to sleep and kind of when I wake up in the morning, because it takes me a while to get to sleep and it takes me a while to get up. So it's something I can do easily in bed and not have to really think about it, and it helps shut my brain down. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how those came out, and it was quite satisfying. It was like a production line. I was like, put them into soak first thing in the morning, then take them upstairs and pin them out on the blocking board and leave them overnight and swap them over again in the next day. So I was doing like 4 a day, which is why I've got 28. So yeah, I'm really pleased with those, and I'm kind of starting to think about how I'm going to join them all together, and I'm not quite sure. One point I thought I was just going to match and stitch them together, but I think that won't look great. So I'm kind of tempted to find a neutral colour and either do a kind of knitted border and knit them together that way, or single crochet them in a neutral colour, possibly like black or dark grey. I haven't decided yet. So yeah, I'm racking my brains about that. Any ideas will be gratefully received, because I'm not quite sure about what I'm going to do yet. But yeah, I'm happy with how that's going. It's sort of, I've left it for a while. I kind of lost momentum, and then just this last week or so, I think because I was feeling a bit rubbish, I just picked up the project again and started working on it, and yeah, it sort of got momentum going again, especially blocking all those squares. It made me sort of carry on, so I was pleased about that. So yeah, that's kind of a partial finished object. It's not really a finished object. It's like Ellie from FO and I says, it's a PO. It's a partially finished object. And this last one is something I hadn't intended to do at all. It's a skein of yarn, and it's a skein of yarn spun from the stuff I hand dyed that I showed you last episode. And I don't know, I was inspired because I was talking about it and was thinking more about how colours work together when you spin them and such, that it kind of made me think about, I can't find, what was I looking for? That's what I was looking for. I'll show you the picture if you didn't see the episode last week of, oops, and that's quite dark compared to its reality, but that's what the braid of fibre looked like, or braids of fibre looked like. And I wasn't sure about it at all, so I decided I was going to spin it and see what happened and see whether that changed my opinion of it, because I know sometimes colours blend together in a way you're not really expecting. So it was kind of, it's an ongoing experiment, this is. It's something, you know, the dyeing of the fibre, and then the spinning of the fibre, and then next will probably be the knitting of the fibre. I don't know what into, but again, it's not something that I'm desperately need or want or what have you. It's just I want to see how it all the way through, how it works, because it'll teach me about how I want to dye things in the future. And it doesn't really cost a lot to use superwash merino fibre to experiment with. It's really quite cheap to buy it. I get mine from World of Wool, and it's pretty reasonable. It's like £3 or £4 for 100 grams. It's like nothing. So it's a very good fibre to practice with. For one thing, it's superwash, which means you won't felt it, and for another thing, it's really pleasant to spin and to knit with. It's nice and soft and bouncy. So if I show you, I tried to barber pole it as much as possible. So it's a 2-ply, and there are sections which I absolutely love where, like for instance this, let me show you, where you've got the orange with the very, very dark purple. I really like that. That really helped tame down the orange, as did where it was blended up against the green. Really toned it down. It's still orange, and that's definitely the prominent colour, but it's a much softer orange because it's up against the green. The green cools it, and I'm really quite pleased with it. What did I get? It's only about, yeah, it's 82 grams. I think I must have misweighed when I pulled off the fibre the first time round, and I lost a couple of bits, but not that much. And it's a sport weight, and it's 221 meters, and yeah, it's spun worsted, 2-ply, very straightforward spinning, and really like that bit as well, with the peachy colour up against the orange. Yeah, I'm really, really satisfied with that, and I think it'd be interesting to knit with. So that might come up another time. So yes, I was concentrating quite a lot on that, because it was like done from start to finish. In fact, how long? I started it on the 26th of August and finished it on the 2nd of September. So that's pretty good going, really. It's funny, I was talking on the Ravelry group about, in the spin along, one of the other members of the group also uses supported spindles, and she agreed with me that supported spindling you can get pretty fast, and in fact she hardly ever uses her wheel anymore because she can get through the fibre quite quickly with supported spindling. So it's nice to have that confirmed, that that's my belief as well. And so yeah, and I found stuff has been flying off my spindle quite quickly, and I'll show you some of that in the Nose to the Grindstone section. In fact, have I got any more done and dusted? No, that's everything that I've done and dusted. The next section is a bit more meaty, and that is Nose to Grindstone. So, talking about the spin along, I shall pull out my project, which is in a fantastic new purchase, and get it all on. This is a bag from Fondant Fibre, and it's something she's only recently started doing. It's called a spin bin, and it's very rigid, it's very robust, it's got really tough handles, and it's a really good size, really, really good size. And even more importantly, it's got ripstop nylon lining, so it's shiny and slippy, which means fibre doesn't stick to it. It doesn't mat it up, it doesn't pull. I mean, you can sort of see what I mean. Like if you look at this handle, don't know if you can see, but it's got, there you go, it's got fibre on it because it's cotton and it catches. Even though it's a smooth fabric, it still gets bits of fibre adhered to it. Whereas the nylon, nothing stuck to it. So I've been looking for something like it for quite a while. I saw a few things which had satin lining in, but they were quite small and they were overseas, not in Europe, which meant I would have had to pay quite a lot in postage and quite a lot in customs charges and things. And they weren't worth it to me. They weren't exactly what I was looking for. So I kind of just put it off and just thought, oh, well, I'm not going to manage it. And that's why I bought those baskets from Jules. I can't remember what, Jules Crafts, something like that. I'll put the link in the show notes. They're sort of pop-up jute baskets which are plastic coated on the inside, and they work brilliantly. But this I can easily take along with me because it's a bag and it sits flat. It will easily fit beside me if I'm out and about and spinning. So yeah, really, really impressed with these bags. She's doing maybe 3 an update on fondant fibre on the shop. If you go and have a look, I think the updates normally happen on a Saturday afternoon. I'm not quite sure, but you can check for update information in her Ravelry group, and I'll try and remember to put up a link to the Ravelry group in the show notes. Can't guarantee I'll remember, but I'll try. So the spin along project, which I've got in here, excuse my rustling, I started on the 2nd of September, and this is what I've spun so far. I originally just said I was going to do this, and this is Hilltop Cloud, and it's 70% BFL, 15% cashmere and 15% silk, and there was no sort of real colourway name, it's just sort of autumn colours, and it's gorgeous, really, really beautiful colours. And I bought this and I bought the undyed, so I've got 100 grams of each with the intention of spinning it to the same weight to be able to stripe them together, because I knew I would want more. And I think having the natural to contrast will make it more beautiful. And I have to say, the difference in spinning the dyed fibre and the undyed fibre is quite surprising. I was really, really surprised at how different it felt, having this sort of very, if I can show you, I've still got some of the unnatural unspun. It's very, very fluffy, and the dyed fibre was much more compact, not compacted, just compact. It was much smoother to the top. It was much smoother, didn't fluff out as much as this, because this is pretty fluffy fibre. I didn't realise quite how fluffy it was until I started spinning it, and it completely covered me, my lap cloth, the sofa, everything. It just got everywhere, and I think that's the cashmere doing that. It's very, very soft, but very, very fluffy, and I've just got it everywhere. But yeah, I've pretty much been spinning on this non-stop. I've kind of been addicted to it, and I've been spinning them on my Spanish Peacock bead wool spindles, and it's really beautiful. It's birch. They're sort of compressed coloured woods, and then it's carved from the sort of the compressed wood. So you get these great lined spindles, and I love, 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 love spinning with these spindles. They are super, super fast, very, very smooth, and they balance perfectly. And that's the other spindle I was using, and that's same sort of principle, different woods and colours, and they weigh exactly the same, which is the reason I got this second one, which means what I tend to do with these spindles is I split my fibre in half, and I do each half at a time. So I put a quarter of the fibre on one spindle and a quarter of fibre on another spindle, and I spin them sort of straight together, and then I'll kind of wind them off both spindles, and then I'll do the other half. And it just keeps it easier to handle, because the larger the cop, the more yarn that's on the spindle, the heavier it becomes and the harder to spin it becomes. It becomes much more slow. So I try and keep it down to sort of 30-40 grams at the most on each spindle. Even though it could take more, it wouldn't be as efficient to do it that way. So that's what I've been doing, and I kind of decided I did 50 grams of the dyed yarn, 50 grams of the undyed, 50 grams of the dyed yarn, and 50 grams, the last 50 grams is what I'm working on now for the undyed yarn, to sort of keep it consistent. And to be honest, because I've done it in such a short space of time, it should be consistent anyway. But I'm really pleased with how it's coming out. So let me see if I can show you. It's quite fine. And because it's going to be a 2-ply, I think it's probably going to be a fingering weight, because I'm very, very bad and I don't sample my fibre. If I ever do a big project, I will sample. I just want to sit and spin something pretty for the spin along. So I'm really, really pleased with how that's going, because like I say, we're only a week in and I've done 150 grams worth of singles, so pretty pleased with that. So yes, very pleased with my bag. Very pleased with my bag. I'm very pleased with my project. It's a dream to spin. Hilltop Cloud does beautiful work. Her colours are fantastic and her fibre is beautiful, and it's unusual. A lot of her fibre is very unusual, and her blends and things are, I've not seen a lot of her blends anywhere else, so it's always nice to have a look around her website, because it's usually very good. And if you excuse me, I need a drink. My throat is a bit raspy. Like I say, I've had these hay fever thing, and it's left my throat very dry. So the next thing is in another new bag, and this bag is also enormous. Look how big it is. It's huge. And I am so pleased. Look at that fabric. Isn't it nice and sunny? It sort of makes me think of late summer, early autumn, those colours, and the kind of fabric pattern. And the other thing I love about this bag is the lining. Spots, yellow spots. Really, really love this bag. It's from Knit and Stitch Bits. Link is in the show notes. And she is in Australia, and I follow her on Instagram, and she gets the nicest fabrics, and they're all pretty reasonably priced. I think it's because the Australian dollar is a bit weaker in relation to the British pound at the moment, so they're very reasonable, and really, really like the fabrics that she chooses. And I've kind of been tempted for a while to get one of her bags, and then this one popped up in her Instagram feed saying I've just put this on, and because it was a really large, I think it was, she called it, what was it, a supersized wedge is the size, and the total price of it came underneath the £15 customs charge limit, so it's very, very reasonable for us Brits at least, and it's beautifully made. It really is. It's got possibly a foam or felt interfacing, because it feel, or just really quite stiff interfacing it might be, or duck cloth or something, but it gives it a nice, it's rigid, it sort of sits open, stands up on its own, which is useful if you're knitting with stuff in here, or crocheting in this case. But I love this bag. I'm so pleased with it. It was even bigger than I expected. And I've been looking for like big bags for ages, and that is perfect for this project, which is my crocheted blanket for my niece. And I showed you this quite a while ago, was the last time I'd done anything on it, and it's all in knots, and I do apologise because I can't find the top. Here we go. This here is where I was last time. This little penguin. See my little penguin? Isn't he cute? Can't see. Are you focusing on the penguin? No, not really. But it's so cute. I don't know if it'll focus if I do that. But he's a very sweet little penguin. And at the top you can see where it's pinned off with a little duck. Come on, focus. There we go, little duck. Very cute little duck. And these stitch markers are made by Apsa Knitting Lootly, and she's got an Etsy shop, and they're these what are they called? Yeah, they're the sort of rubbery plasticky stuff which you can mould and then bake to give you something fairly robust. And she does a lot of really cute little stitch markers, so I got a set of each of these, and I got them with the latch hooks on them, so you can use them as sort of place minders and use them to shut off the loop of your crochet so it doesn't come undone even if the hook drops out, which that's what I tend to do, is I put a lockable stitch marker on the last live stitch to stop it unraveling while I'm working. So yeah, I'm almost to the point. Huge blanket. I'm almost to the point where I think it might nearly be square. So if I put corner to corner, you can see that it's not quite meeting at the corners. It's roughly that much again that I've got to, it's probably about an inch that I've got to add at the top, another inch of work, and then it's going to be square. And then at that point I've got to decide what I'm going to do around the edges, which I have not decided at all. I've just been crocheting away. As I don't know if you've heard of the BBC proms overseas, but it's a series of concerts that they do in connection with the Royal Albert Hall and the BBC, and I think there might be some other locations, but that's the main location, is the Royal Albert Hall. And they basically, it's to promote basically music, based classical music essentially, in all its forms, and it's meant to be accessible and interesting and exciting, and tickets are meant to be reasonably priced. It's like they've got standing room in kind of the pits in front of the orchestra, so people, it's priced to get lots of people in and access to amazing orchestras and things like that. And this summer we seem to have been watching a lot of the proms concerts. We've not really watched them before, but there've been some really interesting performances and lots of exciting kind of new classical music being performed, and being performed in, they quite often do performances in conjunction with sort of pop artists as well and things like that, which makes it really exciting because it's very innovative and interesting. So I've been watching quite a lot of the proms on the BBC this summer, and crocheting is perfect for that because I am not good enough to crochet without looking. I am not familiar enough with crocheting to do that, and it's been good crocheting TV. So I'm going to scrunch all that up and worry about it later. But I'm pretty pleased with how that's going, because that's going to be a Christmas present. So it'd be nice to get that out of the way as soon as possible. So what else have I been working on? I haven't really been working on my hitafude because I got stuck, messed up. And I just went, my brain can't cope with this at the moment. Just is not fit for purpose. And I've done the ribbing and I've joined up the sleeves with the 3 needle bind off underneath. And I think I did another extra lace repeat to make it big enough for my upper arms for the size across my back. And I'm at the point where I've finished the ribbing that sort of to make it sort of shrug-like. So this is, where am I? This is the neck. And then these stitches, live stitches at the bottom and the sides are what becomes the cardigan. And I think I've gone very wrong somewhere. I've miscounted. It just doesn't, nothing matches. So I kind of ground to a halt with that, because I thought, I can't really face just unraveling. It's only a single row that I've got wrong, but my brain's just not with it at all at the minute. So I just decided I was going to leave it until I was ready to. So I just thought I'd give you that update, because I have done a bit since last time. The thing I have been concentrating on, other than the spinning and the crocheting, is another very, very simple project, which is the Novum by Martina Bain. And it feels like I've been on a bit of a marathon knitting jag this last couple of weeks, and I can show you where the duck is, and that's how far I've got. I have been knitting on this thing incessantly, and I've managed 3-4 inches. That's the colour. That's the accurate colour, by the way. So yeah, not a lot at all, but that's because it's really long. You can't really see it on this needle because it's all sort of bunched up at the ends, but it's perfect knitting for if you're not with it at all. I've just been sort of sitting there knitting, going round and round in circles while listening to audiobooks, because my brain is just it's taking a holiday. Hay fever does this to me, just like my brain goes on holiday. So I'm really pleased with how that's going. In fact, I've only got squished, that's how much yarn I've got left, and I think I'm getting to the point nearly where I have to decide what I'm going to do about the border, because I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with the border, because the pattern says when it gets to a certain percentage of yarn left, you will you like double the stitches and do a ruffle around the outside, and I'm not sure about the ruffle. It was hell to knit when I did it on my other Novum. I did not enjoy knitting it, and I'm not really sure I like the look of it, because I'm not a frilly person, and I don't know, part of me just wants to do garter stitch in the round, just to give it something, a bit of a contrast to the border, but also stop it curling on itself. So I'm kind of tempted to do that, though it will be a bit of a sod to purl all the way around, unless I do sort of wrap and turn it the other way around and knit back and then turn it around. And so I know that that's possible. I'm not quite sure how to do it because I've not tried it, but that is a possibility if I don't want to do that. I mean, purling's not that much of a problem for me. I don't hate it the way a lot of people do, but I do have to think a little bit more about it because I don't do as much purling as I do knitting. So that's coming along really well, even though it doesn't look like it's had much progress at all. So where are we now? Have I got anything else? I forgot to turn my phone off. I'm really sorry. And it's over there. Bear with me 1 second. So unprofessional. Bad podcaster. Bad podcaster. There we go. It's just going to vibrate at me now, so you probably won't hear it, which will be good. The other projects, the spinning projects, which I haven't touched, which are the Into the World Captain Tight Pants and the Yarn Geek Fibres BFL. I've not touched those. I kind of got really, so I thought I'll start my spinning project for the spin along, so at least I've got it started, and I just got so sucked into it I didn't want to work on anything else. So that's why I haven't worked on those other projects. I'll try and pick them up this week. I will try pick these up this week. But yeah, really pleased with that. I have been toying with an idea for a while. I have managed to accrue 3 skeins. Right, now let me show you. Yeah, you can see more clearly that dark green in the middle, there's elements of it in this. 3 skeins from totally different dyers, and I'm pretty sure, like 98% sure, that they're dyed on the same base. And the base is, where's it gone? Where's it gone? It doesn't say. 60% superwash merino, 20% yak down, and 20% silk. And these 3 dyers are all British dyers. And this first one is from Truly Hooked. I don't know if I've shown you this one. I've had it a while. The second one is from Wool Barn, the Wool Barn, and I'm pretty sure I showed you that one. And this third one is from Kettle Yarn, and I've been after this colourway for quite a while. It's Black Quartz. This base is not cheap. It's not the most expensive by a long shot, but it's not like, you know, superwash merino cheap. So it's taken me quite a while to gather these 3 colours, and I think they work really well together. I'm really pleased with how they work. So I've been trying to decide, because I started off with this one, then I added that one, and I just don't think there's enough of a contrast to make a 2-colour shawl work, which was why I wanted to add in this much darker colour to give it more contrast and do a 3 skein shawl, because I really like that size of shawl, sort of big swoopy round shawls that can completely wrap you up. And this base is beautiful, really, really lovely, and I think I'm going to really enjoy knitting something. The thing that I was thinking of doing is Dusk into Twilight by Romy Hill. And of course, I didn't open it up, did I? Let me see if I can find it for you and show you. It's going to take me a while now. Sing among yourselves, speak to yourselves. There we go. There it is. Open. And it's a 3-colour shawl. And it's got short rows and stripes and a nice sort of mesh lace edging. And I really like it. Love this one. This version. Come on, tick over. Look at the colours in that. Isn't that amazing? So beautiful. And there's one here which is not in solids, which I think looks equally beautiful. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. So that's kind of my plotting and also my splashed out, because I forgot to tell you about that last time. Kettle Yarn does beautiful sort of semi-solids. That's what she does. She has beautiful yarn and she dyes semi-solids beautifully. And I really, really like her yarns, and they're perfect to do sort of contrasts and things with. So yeah, hopefully that'll be my next big shawl project. but I want to get the Novum off the needles first because that's a big project. And I also really want to be wearing it because it's starting to get a little bit cooler. So I think it'll come in quite useful because of the weight of it. It's the Wollmeister lace yarn, and it's a 3-ply. It's a heavy lace weight rather than a true lace weight, and it's superwash merino, so it's nice and warm but also light. So I think it'll come in really useful this sort of time of year. So I kind of want to get that on done and dusted as soon as possible. So that's my plotting at the moment. That's what I've been thinking about doing. And I guess I can show you splashed out. I've already mentioned that kettle yarn. I bought some beautiful yarn. Now, do you remember me telling you about the Eden Cottage yarns, the colour I really liked? Does it look familiar to you? There we go. Isn't it beautiful? It's Polworth, 100% Polworth, and it's 4-ply, and the colourway is Faded Bloom. Her Polworth base is called Oakworth, and this is the 4-ply version, and it feels lovely. I mean, I love Polworth, but I've never actually knit with a commercial Polworth yarn. I've only ever knit with handspun Polworth yarn. So it's so nice to get my hands on something that's dyed in the UK, even though it's New Zealand Polworth, that's been commercially spun. I really like it. It's nice and soft and sleek, and it's nice and sort of tightly plied, but not overly tightly plied. It's nice and balanced yarn. I think it's going to be beautiful in whatever it's knit into. Have you noticed how much more pink and stuff I'm using at the moment? I blame my niece, definitely blame my niece. The other thing I got from Fondant Fibre that I bought along with my spinning bin, because it'd be rude not to, is this beautiful fibre, which is superwash merino and nylon, and it's in the Metropolis colourway, and it's 120 grams, which means it'll probably do for a pair of socks. And I really do want to spin for some socks again, because I love my handspun socks that I've got, but I've only got one pair, so it would be really nice to have another pair, I think. So I think I'll be spinning that in the next couple of months, so I can make myself some handspun socks for the winter, because they are quite warm usually when I finish with them. I showed you the bags that I bought. The other thing that I bought was a new spindle. Yes, a new spindle. Like, I need another spindle. But this is lovely. It is from Enid Ashcroft. Let me show you the tip. Beautiful tapered tip. Very fine to sort of flick. Very easy to flick. Beautiful point. Very easy to spin off it. Beautifully balanced as always. Enid Ashcroft does beautifully balanced spindles. They're lovely. And it's Yew and Paduke. I think that's how you pronounce it. P-A-D-A-U-K. And isn't that beautiful? And it's 24 grams. I can't remember how long it is. It's about 10.5 inches, I think. I don't like them much shorter than this. I prefer a longer shaft. Just makes it easier to wind on temporary cops and things without it getting too messy. And 24 grams, and it spins like a dream. Look at that. That's just in my palm. It's not even on a flat surface, and it's still spinning. And I didn't even give it a proper flick. It's just beautiful. Really lovely spindle. And if you are interested in supported spindles, Enid Ashcroft has her updates usually at 5 p.m. on a Sunday, and her stuff sells out pretty quickly. However, when I was getting the link for the show notes yesterday, I saw that she still had a drop spindle from her last update, and it was a lovely drop spindle, really beautiful. And if I drop spindled, I would have bought it 'cause it was like checkered wood, really beautifully done. And I love the fact that we have a really, really good supported spindler maker in the UK, and her prices are not prohibitive. I think it was about £30, I think, which for something that is so beautifully made in such lovely materials, I cannot complain. £30, I just can't. It's, and just look at the grain in that. Isn't that beautiful? I think my addiction to spindles comes from really enjoying spinning and liking beautiful tools that work exceptionally well. And the other thing comes from my love of wood. I grew up with proper wooden furniture. I still have in my kitchen the dining table that I grew up with, and it was made by Mousy Thompson, who is based in the company's based in North Yorkshire, Kibworth, which was very close to a house that my great uncle Charlie built. And he had this big bay window that looked out over the Yorkshire moors, North York moors, and this table sat in that bay. So he specified his design and got Mousy Thompson to make one. And it's beautiful. It's 13-sided. It's a good couple of inches thick, and it's got 3 legs, and I've got 2 curved benches that tuck quite neatly underneath. And so my mum grew up with that table. She inherited it, and I grew up with it, and she's given it to me because she hasn't got room for it. And I love that table, and it's oak and it's gorgeous, and I grew up with that. And my dad does a lot of stuff with wood. He makes toys for the kids and stuff, and I have a real deep abiding affection for the material. It came from something alive, and it was beautiful while it was alive, and once it was gone, it became something useful and beautiful. And I love wood. It's a beautifully warm and tactile material, and spindles are generally made from wood, and I love working with them. So that was a purchase that was hard to resist, and I think it's rapidly going to, I've got wood fluff in my lips. It's rapidly becoming a real favourite spindle, so I think it's going to get a lot of use, that one. It's a good weight for me, I think, 24 grams. Nice and quick spin. And I think that is all I've got for Splashed Out. So, online community. I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone who saw the post on Instagram and on Twitter and the Facebook page, and also the post I put in the Ravelry group thread, which was to tell you that last weekend was the anniversary of my podcasting on video. I did about a year's worth of audio podcasting, but this was a year of video podcasting, and the video podcast is a very different beast to the audio podcast. It's a much more interactive audience. I think it's because you can see me when I talk to you. I think that's it. And I do feel that way a lot about my own viewing of video podcasts. I find it that I want to reach out and talk to people who are speaking to me from a screen. I can see their face, I can see how they're talking, I can see their expressions, and it conveys so much more than just a voice. And I feel like very, very grateful that I've met so many wonderful people online who have become firm friends and who chat to me all the time and give me encouragement, offer recommendations, give me help. I'm so, so grateful for this year of podcasting. And to celebrate, I announced just that weekend a 50% discount on my patterns. So I'm sorry if you didn't see that. I apologise that you missed out. However, I'm going to do a giveaway to celebrate. And this is a very beautiful skein from Wharfdale Woolworks, and it's BFL lace. It's 800 metres of Blueface Leicester. It's a 2-ply and 100 grams, and the colourway is Sea Jewels. I am so sorry. I've been talking for far too long. That's what that means. Apologies. This is not me at all. Yeah, even if I mute it, the alarm goes off to tell me I should be taking my tablets. And I thought I'd started early enough for that not to go off. Must remember to take the tablets when I finish this recording. It's not going to be long anyway. Anyway, this giveaway is for this skein, beautiful skein of lace weight. It's Blueface Leicester is one of my favourite fibres. It's much more robust than merino. It's got beautiful drape. It's soft and silky without falling apart under your fingers. So it's nice for lace because it's a lot more sturdy than a merino lace weight. So you're less likely to mess it up if you go wrong and need to frog it and stuff, which, let's face it, happens quite a lot when you're knitting lace, or at least it does to me anyway. But yeah, this skein is a beautiful, beautiful colour, and that's quite colour accurate. It's a bit greener, so like it's a tealy colour more than anything. The overriding colour is teal. But that I'm going to draw for that just before I record episode 21, and I'm going to open a thread on the Ravelry group. So be a member of the group, go over to find the thread and answer the question that's in post 1, and I shall close the thread and draw just before I record the next episode, which will be a minimum of a week and probably a maximum of a month. And I can never say more than that. So this is just my way of saying thank you to you guys. And I've had a couple of people ask me about the boat trip pattern, the cowl. And like I say, I've not been feeling great, so I've not been really able to concentrate enough to finish that off. And there's really not a lot to finish, and I really should get my act together and finish that off. I plan to, but at the moment my brain just can't cope with it. It's basically, I've got a constant headache. So what I promise to do is, if you want me to send you an ear burn when it's done, send me a message, a PM or whatever, any way of letting me know, and I'll put your name on a list, so I'll ear burn you when it's done. And I will also offer a discount code when I release it to you guys, but no one else, just you guys. So I will let you know when it's going to be released. So even if you don't see the episode that I give you the discount code in, I will post it saying it has been launched. Go and watch the episode. So you can get the code that way. So there we go. Thank you for sticking with me for 12 months. It's been fun. It's been rewarding and challenging, and above all fun. So thank you for hanging out with me. And on that note, I think I shall say farewell, and hopefully I will see you in maybe a couple of weeks' time. And come and join us with the spin along. It's been good fun, and there's lots of information available for you as well. So hopefully I will see you soon. Bye.